I know a lot of people think I hate Daniel Jones for some reason.
Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so again, I've been on a little bit of a hiatus. It's been an eventful off season, but at the same time, it's been kind of a slow off season for the things I've kind of been like excited to talk about. The Giants have made a ton of exciting moves over my entire fandom as being a Giants fan. And it seems like every year I get excited and every year there's some type of disappointment. But this offseason looks like we did a lot of great things. We're building in the right direction. But I've also been doing a lot of traveling for work and stuff too. So finally have gotten the time and energy to sit down and talk about the New York Giants today. And I wanted to talk about pretty much Daniel Jones. Now, I'm not sure the last Daniel Jones video I've even made. I'm not sure what that was. I'm not even sure what the last video I made was. I didn't even check before I made this. But I wanted to just kind of give just a raw perspective on Daniel Jones. I think I made a video a couple of weeks ago about Daniel Jones and Eli Manning and how people were just saying that they were the same thing, they were having the same career, and that Daniel Jones was going to be better. Now, first of all, would I like for Daniel Jones' career to be better than Eli Manning? Of course I would. That would mean be winning a lot of games. That means we'd be winning multiple Super Bowls. So I would love that. I would definitely love that. But I'm not even going to get into comparing him to Eli in this video. What I wanted to talk about is the fact that Daniel Jones, for the first time in his career, is going to have, well, I'll say the second time in his career, is going to have an offensive coordinator that really believes in him. And I think for the first time in his career, is going to have an offensive coordinator and an offense that's built in order for him to succeed. In the preseason, in his rookie year, and in that beginning part of his rookie year, or even most of his rookie year, Pat Shermer designed an offense that really catered to Daniel Jones as far as getting the ball out quick, making those quick decisions when you have the chances to take your shots, be aggressive. That was in there for Pat Shermer. We had a lot of exciting plays. He had multiple 4 or 5 touchdown games, so that worked out for him as a rookie. But Pat Shermer did not utilize Daniel Jones's legs at all. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 times he would run, and then most of the time, when I say 1 or 2 times, I mean a game. And then most of the times when he would run, it wouldn't be a design run. So one thing that Jason Garrett actually did that worked very well was running that read option. Running that option, having Daniel Jones always have that threat to keep the football and take off. And you see he can go 80-something yards. And if he didn't trip, that would be probably the biggest highlight of his career, that 80-something yard touchdown he would have had. But couldn't make it happen. But at the end of the day, that's one thing that Jason Garrett did get out of Daniel Jones is you can utilize this guy as a design runner. Now, one thing about Daniel Jones, and this kind of circles back to his entire career of everything he does, he just has to be, he has to find that line between aggressiveness, because we all know that this dude is a dog. Internally, he's a dog. He's going to put his body on the line for his team. You look at the Falcons game, he runs over a defensive tackle to get into the end zone. So we know he's that type of player. We know he's got that kind of heart. But we have to kind of taper that. We can't have him diving head first in all of his runs, because he's going to get hurt. And that's exactly how he's gotten hurt. He's gotten hurt with a concussion to the head. He's gotten hurt diving forward and landing on his leg and pulling his hamstring. And then he got that the same way, another way. So if he's able to just slide, or run out of bounds, or learn how to take these tackles a little bit better, he can be used as an effective runner. He doesn't need to be like juking people out. He doesn't need to be trucking people. First of all, he's not that elusive to be juking people out. Second of all, he is a big person. So yes, sometimes it is appropriate to truck people, but it's not appropriate to truck people at the beginning of a game or in the middle of the game, and it's 2nd and 7, and you get 3 yards, and you're dropping your shoulder like you're a running back to try to get 4 more yards. that's not going to ever be helpful. So if he can learn that balance, that will be an effective way that he'll be used in the running game. And I believe wholeheartedly that Brian Daboll and Mike Kafka are making sure that he knows how aggressive, he needs to be and how much he needs to make sure that he protects himself. And when those times, at the end of the game where you need that first down and, that huge drive where you need that first down or you're, an inch away from the end zone, that's when you drop that shoulder and be aggressive. So I think that's one thing that he's going to have to figure out. And once he figures that out, his legs are going to be a weapon. Now, as far as throwing the ball, Daniel Jones did very well throwing that football in his rookie season. Overall, he wasn't really a guy that threw a bunch of interceptions. He was on time with people. The passes were all pinpoint. He's always been an accurate player. He's got the arm to make every throw. Now, he's not going to be a guy that can just backpedal like Mahomes and just throw it 80 yards or throw it 70 yards or what Justin Herbert did against the Giants last year. He's not that kind of guy, but he has an arm that can make every single throw as far as 7-step drops, 5-step drops, 3-step drops, whatever offense, 2-step drops, whatever you want to call it. He can make all of those throws. So what we need to see from Daniel Jones is a mix of what we saw with Pat Shurmur, which, guess what? You got to check right there because Mike Kafka comes from the Andy Reid tree. Shurmur comes from the Andy Reid tree. And they're going to have a lot of similar overlap. Now, of course, it's going to be partly Daboll's offense too, but they're going to have a lot of overlap in some of the way they do things as far as Pat Shurmur and Mike Kafka. Now, you're going to see times where he just drops back, gets the ball out of his hands immediately. Drops back, tries to get the ball out of his hands. If not, he takes a deep shot. This offense needs to take advantage of Daniel Jones' aggressiveness. He was the best quarterback in the league 2 years ago at throwing it deep, even though he hardly got to throw it deep. Best at doing that, though. And you just have to let this guy be aggressive, which is why I'm happy that Brian Daboll said that he wants to turn him loose. Now, this year, Daniel was obviously playing for his career. If he's not able to put up that kind of 25 touchdowns at least in a 17-game season should not be, ridiculous to ask for. If he can put up that 25 to 33 touchdown range and be aggressive running the ball and, lead this team to some wins, he probably buys himself a franchise tag. Now, if he just blows everybody out of the water and he's all of a sudden, on pace for 40-something touchdowns and he's running all over the place and he looks like, not an MVP candidate, but someone that would be, that would be in the running to be, top 10, top 15 quarterback, or someone that would be, someone that's on pace to throw for a bunch of touchdowns and yards or something like that. If he's able to do that, that's when you look at him getting a deal. Now, do I think that will be a 4 or 5 year, $40 million deal? I don't think so, even if he did have an MVP season. I think at that point, he still probably gets franchise tag because the Giants may offer him a 3-year deal, but they might not be comfortable offering him that, that 5-year deal and guaranteeing a bunch of money because, first of all, he's got to show that he can stay healthy. Second of all, he'd be a literal 1-year wonder so far. So they would have to probably see that again. And Daniel Jones probably wants that long-term money. So he will probably take the franchise tag, bet on himself again, and try to cash out next year. But it's all in his hands. It's all in his hands to go ahead and take that next step to prove to the Giants that when they made that 6th overall pick, they weren't making a mistake. We finally gave him some help. This is his time to ball. And I think that he has all of the tools to do it. Just to kind of recap a Kafka interview from The Athletic, he said him and Daniel Jones meet every morning. I'm going to kind of summarize this. They meet early in the morning. They rank their favorite first and second downs. They rank their favorite third downs. They rank their favorite red zone plays. So they do this every single day. And it's just, being honest with you, it just doesn't seem like something that was happening when Joe Judge and Jason Garrett was in the building. It seemed like, even though Joe Judge's first press conference said, don't tell me what a player can't do, tell me what he can do, it just still seemed like it was a square peg in a round hole. You were trying to make Daniel Jones and the Dak Prescott and trying to make him throw it short every play. Because if you remember when Dak Prescott was a young quarterback, he didn't throw the ball deep. People called him Dink and Dak. People called him Dink and Dak, and he didn't throw the ball deep. And that worked for him, but Daniel Jones isn't that type of a quarterback. And then when you add Joe Judge on top of that, that offense was the most conservative offense I've ever seen in my life. I mean, Joe Judge, obviously, with the sneaks, showed you that the reason why Daniel Jones was throwing 11 and 12 touchdowns in 12 games is because we had the most conservative offense in NFL history. He wanted to win games 9-3. He wanted to win games 12-6. He wanted to win games 17-14. That's how Joe Judge wanted to win, and that's just not going to work. And that's why I feel so bad for Mac Jones, because he's going to have Joe Judge in his ear as, an offensive mind. But at the end of the day, as I said, it's in Daniel Jones' hands. It's all there for the taking. I think he has all the talent to do it. I just don't want to get disappointed again. I think he has all the talent as far as himself, as far as his teammates at the skill positions, as far as the offensive line. I think the defense has the potential to be historically bad. They have the potential to be, but they also have the potential to be really good. They also have the potential to be, average. It's a mixed bag. But one thing I do know is we added Thibodeau, we have Leonard Williams, we have Dexter Lawrence, and we have Azeez Ojulari. So I'm really depending on guys like Azeez Ojulari to take that next step. I'm depending on a couple of these guys to take these next steps. Like Xavier McKinney, I'm hoping that he doesn't take a step back. I'm hoping that Adoree Jackson doesn't become a horrible corner. I'm hoping that Aaron Robinson can at least be an average starting corner in the league. But even without that, I feel like our front four will stop us from being a historically bad defense. And if you can just become a 20th ranked defense and you can get your offense in the top 12, I think we're cooking with hot grease. So you guys let me know what you're thinking of Daniel Jones in this new environment. I know a lot of people think I hate Daniel Jones for some reason. I just try to keep it realistic and set realistic expectations. But I'm hoping that he can go out there and really ball out. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.